Okay, good morning. Thank you for joining me. We're going to be covering the unit circle right now. Um, this seems to be the topic that we struggled the most with on the practice final, but we're going to try to simplify it right now. All right. And before I even start going through any examples, I'm going to go over kind of like the basics of what you have to know so that you can be successful with the unit circle. So let me do that outside of these examples. So let me see. Can I scoot this forward even more? I'll put here concept. I should be able to squid it over even more. There we go. Okay. So before we start with the unit circle, there's three fractions that you have to know for sure. And they're not that difficult to remember. We have 1 over 2, the square root of 2 over 2, and the square root of 3 over 2. These three fractions show up all the time in the unit circle. Okay? And I wrote them from smallest to biggest. Smallest to biggest. If you're struggling with the radical idea, you can always think about this one as a radical 1 because that is literally what it is, right? The square root of 1 is 1. So we have the small fraction, the medium, and the big. And again, they're pretty easy to remember because all you got to think about is 1, 2, 3 for the numerators and 2, 2, 2 for the denominators. Okay. Except that the numerators, of course, have radicals. So here's how you work with it. So say you got the unit circle. And then you have, let's say, the first angle, which is pi over 6. Now, what I want you to do is think about drawing a triangle. All right? So you start from the origin, 0, 0. We move to the right, and then we move up. Now, as I created the triangle, I get two legs for the triangle. I get a big leg, and I get a small leg. So that once, if you know your fractions, that will tell you exactly what the coordinates are. The coordinates are big and small. Just like that. You got to remember your three fractions. Your fractions are 1, 2, 3, small, medium, big. And that's basically it. Let's try it again. Let's get the next angle, pi over 4, which is exactly in the middle. And let me take off this words right here, the small and the big. So again, think about doing a triangle. From the origin, we're going to move to the right, and then we're going to move up. Oh, that did not connect. Okay, there it is. Now, keep in mind that my circle is not drawn to scale. I am doing it by hand, so it's actually pretty like messed up. But if you look at the two legs that I just drew, they look really, really similar in size because they are. They are both the medium legs. Medium, medium. So your coordinate is going to be made up of the two medium fractions. Radical 2 over 2, radical 2 over 2. Now the final one, pi over 6, that's going to be right here. And again, draw your triangle. You move to the right, you move up, and you can clearly see which leg is what, right? We have a small leg on the x-axis, and we have the big leg on the y-axis. So the coordinate right there is going to be made up of the small and the big fraction. And that's how you can get the quadrants in the unit circle. Well, the first quadrant. Because after that, it's just everything is a reflection, right? Watch this. The next angle, which is 2 pi over 3, is going to be just a reflection of this guy because you're just flipping it over through the y-axis. So we're going to have 1/2 radical 3 over 2 with one little exception. The x-coordinate is going to be negative. Since we are moving to the left now. Watch. Left, up. So your x-coordinate is negative. The next angle, which is 3 pi over 4, is a reflection of this angle, pi over 4. So once again, we're going to use the medium leg or the medium fraction with the medium fraction. But once again, the x-coordinate is negative. And that's how you're going to continue working with the unit circle, right? You have another angle right here, and so on and so forth. Let me just tell you one more thing here. When you're dealing with angles in the third quadrant, your angles are going to be negative. Sorry, not your angles, your coordinates. On the fourth quadrant, your coordinates are going to be positive and negative. And then, of course, we also have the corner points. On the far right, we have the point 1, 0. On the top, we have 0, 1. On the left, we have negative 1, 0. And on the bottom, we have 0, negative 1. And this is how you can get the coordinates of the unit circle. We did talk about it in class already. So there's some things that I'm missing here. But maybe I should say them, huh? Just real quick. Cosine of theta is going to be the x coordinate divided by the radius. But the radius in the unit circle is 1. So the x coordinate simplifies. Cosine of theta simplifies to simply the x coordinate. Sine of theta is y divided by the radius, but that one simplifies to y for the same reason. And then finally, tangent of theta equals y over x. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get started with the first examples. Okay, number 1. Find the exact value of tangent of pi over 6, expressing your answer with the rational denominator. Okay. There's my circle. If you don't know what pi over 6 is, you can always convert it to a degree. Theta equals pi over 6. And I'm going to multiply that by 180 over pi. Theta equals 180 pi divided by 6 pi. Theta equals, the pi's cancel, and 180 divided by 6 is 30. So 30 degrees. That already kind of tells me where it's going to be in the unit circle. It's going to be in the first quadrant, and it's going to be relatively close to the x-axis. Make your triangle. We got a big leg, and we got a small leg. So for your coordinates, we're going to use the big fraction and the small fraction. Again, big, small. So then what is tangent of pi over 6? Well, let's figure that out. Tangent of pi over 6 is given to me by the y coordinate divided by the x coordinate. And this means that tangent of pi over 6 is going to be 1/2 divided by the square root of 3 over 2. Okay. Let me zoom it in a little more. This is going to be kind of a tricky problem, but nothing too bad. To divide a fraction by a fraction, we're going to multiply the numerator by the reciprocal. So the first fraction, we're going to keep it. We're going to keep it the same, 1/2. We're going to change division to multiplication, and we're going to flip the second fraction. Keep, change, flip. That's basically multiplying by the reciprocal. All right. Well, look at that. The 2's are going to cancel each other out, leaving us with 1 over the square root of 3. But my answer has to be rationalized. So I have to multiply this by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. And that's going to give me the square root of 3 over 3. Tangent is usually the tricky one to calculate because you actually have to do some work. You got to take the y coordinate and divide it by the x coordinate. But cosine and sine are pretty easy because you can just see what they are. All right, let's do another one. Given the following unit circle, oh, I didn't give you the unit circle, sorry. Rotate the green dot to approximate the angle and then find the exact value of the function. All right, well, let's create the unit circle ourselves. We can do this two ways, right? We can take the angle and convert it to a degree, and I'm just going to tell you what it is right now. 7 pi over 4, that is 315 degrees. But if you don't want to convert it, you don't have to. Here's the other thing that we did in class a long time ago when we first learned this. We're going to cut the top part of the circle into 4 pieces. So you see how I have 4 pieces now on the top part of the circle? Repeat the process for the bottom half of the circle. So we should have 4 pieces on top, and we should have 4 pieces on the bottom. And if you did that correctly, you can just literally count now. 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 4 pi over 4, 5, 6, 7 pi over 4. That's where it lands. And that's also where 315 degrees is located. So, next, are we dealing with a big-small combination, or are we dealing with a medium-medium combination? Let's draw the triangle and find out. I move to the right, I move to the bottom, and there it is. My triangle is not perfect because I did everything by hand. But I'll tell you right now, this is a medium-sized leg, and this is also a medium-sized leg. So we have to use, for the coordinate, we have to use the medium fraction and the medium fraction. Positive for the x, negative for the y. Okay, so we have to find sine of 7 pi over 4. We basically already have it. Sine of 7 pi over 4 equals the y coordinate. So sine of 7 pi over 4 equals negative square root of 2 over 2. Just the y coordinate. That's it. This one. The tricky thing here is, I guess, 1, remembering your fractions, the small, medium, big. And then 2, being able to draw where the angle lands. Because if you can't draw it correctly, you won't be able to see if it's going to be a small, medium, or big. So, do your best to do good unit circles. Okay, one last example. In which quadrant does theta lie if the following statements are true? Sine is less than 0, which means sine has to be negative. And tangent of theta is greater than 0, which means tangent of theta is positive. So, we got the unit circle. We got quadrant 1, quadrant 2, 3, and 4. If you think about drawing a triangle in any of these quadrants, the first quadrant is going to have a positive x value and a positive y value because we're moving to the right and up. In the second quadrant, x is negative, y is positive. On the third, they're both negative. And on the fourth, we have positive, negative. So, out of the 4 quadrants, where is sine negative? And remember, sine is the y coordinate. So sine is negative in the third quadrant and in the fourth quadrant. So let's already cancel these quadrants out. We're not even going to worry about those. Now, tangent has to be positive. And remember, tangent of theta is the y coordinate divided by the x coordinate. So, in quadrant number 3, if I do tangent of theta in the third quadrant, the y coordinate is negative and the x coordinate is negative. And a negative divided by a negative is a positive. In the fourth quadrant, tangent of theta is y over x. The y value is negative. The x value is positive. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. What are we looking for? We're looking for a positive value. So the answer here in quadrant 3. Okay. All right. So hopefully you find the videos helpful. Study up so we can improve our practice final score. I'll see you guys next time.